y'all ready to go back on the cruise or something? Just- Good evening. Thank you for coming to the Newport Board of Education regular meeting. May I have a roll call, please? Here.
Here.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's see. First on the agenda is recognitions.
Madam Chair, it's our favorite part of the meeting where we get to acknowledge and recognize our teachers and our students. So we'll have the primary come up first.
I will start with our student of the month. This is Carter Turner, and Carter is in Miss Mariani's class. Miss Mariani said Carter is very kind, and he is always a friend to others. He's made many friends this year, and he's very liked by his classmates. Carter is a very hard worker, and he gives his best effort. He's a great example of what a second grade student is, and he's been so much fun having him in class, and amazing seeing him assisting. So please congratulate Carter.
Hey, Carter. Carter, yes, sir. No, go ahead, I'm gonna get the note.
Okay.
Here, right here.
Present for you.
And then Carter, we're gonna stand up here, buddy, and then you're gonna be front and center right
Yeah.
here.
Get your picture taken.
We're all gonna stand here and look up.
right there, Coffee.
And all of us are the same height as you. I'll stand next to you.
Congratulations.
Carter, congratulations, Carter. Good, good. Thank you.
For a teacher of the month, we have Kathy Hale. Kathy, come on now, please. Kathy is a reading and math intervention teacher at the primary school, and Kathy is, thank you, Kathy. And Kathy's.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, good evening. We will start with our student of the month, which is Keith Bland. Come on up. He is as tall as us, Miss Payne. So Keith is a sixth grader at the intermediate school, so this is his first year with us, and we have been blessed with him. It has been a great year. He's been an asset to our school. Ms. Cochran says, overall, you're an amazing student. He's helpful with students who are not on grade level. He's an amazing role model for all students, and I'm very thankful to have him as a student, and I'm proud of all of the progress that he's made here at Newport. I will say he will help every student no matter what. He will help them in the hallways, showing them what the expectations look like. He is always willing to help third graders, fourth graders, anybody that needs it. So he really does go above and beyond, and I am very appreciative, not only him, his family too. They're very supportive of us in our school district, and they have volunteered, and I think it's a team effort for all of us. So it's been great to have them as part of our school district. Congratulations.
To stay a Wildcat till you're a senior.
You had to stay a Wildcat till he graduates.
Exactly right.
Great job, Bonnie.
Yeah, good job, baby.
Miss Kenner has been with us 6 years, and she has done anything and everything. She has been fifth grade, she has been fourth grade, she has been third grade. She can teach reading, she can teach math, she can teach science. Whatever you need, Emily Kenner can do it, and do it and shine. We just got our iReady results back for spring, and her class made 181% growth in She really is an incredible teacher, and she really can do it all. I'm thankful for her leadership too within our building. She helps our teachers as an admin team. She's really great with the kids and the relationship piece. Ms. Kenner, I'm extremely thankful for. We speak the same type A spreadsheet data language, so that's helpful. So we share a bond, a special bond too, and it's great to have Emily and her leadership and leading houses this year. She's phenomenal, and we are very, very blessed to have Ms. Kenner with us. Hands down. Hello. Good, how are you? Thank you. Well, I saw the back of his head. Yeah, I know. I saw he's hiding back there.
Yeah, he came to support you.
I know.
He's another Ed. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good evening. We'll start off with our high school student of the month, Kelsey. Yeah. This is what our staff had to say about Kelsey. Kelsey Turner is such a hardworking, dependable student who comes to class every day with a positive attitude and a genuine eagerness to learn. She stays on top of her work, asks questions to stay clear on the material, always puts her best effort. Respectful and considerate she is to everyone around her. She's not only a great student, but also a truly great person to have in class. I'm lucky to have her this year and excited to celebrate her.
All right.
Great job.
Trying to hide that.
Congratulations.
Our teacher of the month is Holly Sellover. Holly couldn't be here tonight. She has a small problem. She has kids involved in like 4 or 5 different things. I think she had 3 practices to go to tonight. Anyway, I'll read about her. This is Ms. Sellover's first year for us as a high school science teacher. She has been an incredible addition to our department and a true team player. Whether it's jumping in to support a colleague or helping brainstorm new ideas, she is always willing to lend a hand. Her deep experience and strong content knowledge make her an invaluable resource, and we appreciate the way she helped us think through how we can teach our subject more effectively. She consistently holds high expectations for our students and brings a level of professionalism, dedication, and collaboration that strengthens our entire team. We're so lucky to have her.
Thank you. On to the. No. Oh, well, we have Steve Crawford here. He's gonna give us an update on our insurance. How are you, Mr. Crawford?
How are you?
I'm good.
Appreciate that introduction, the boring stuff. Nobody wants to hear about insurance.
My apologies.
Can you hear me all right? or-
Yes, you're good right there.
So, Superintendent Watts asked me to be here tonight just to give you guys an update on the insurance. I think all of you were here last year, but I'm not sure when we made that decision.
I don't believe she was, so that's the reason I invited
All
you
right.
to give a little background on our new
Yeah.
program and give us an update on how is it working, because it's so new.
Good. So I'll give a little background on how we got where we are and give you an update on how the program is going. So unfortunately, in the state of Kentucky, talking about insurance other than workers' comp and student accident and cyber, this gets a little bit complicated. There's really no competition. There is competition on student accident, there is competition on cyber insurance, and there is competition on workers' comp. However, on the rest of your stuff, your liability, your buildings, Liberty Mutual had become really the dominant player in the market. So when that happens, they dictate pricing, which many times, in our opinion, is unfair to the clients, the school districts who perform well. This has been going on for 3 or 4 years, and despite our best efforts, we're not making much headway with them to get them to cut pricing on districts like yours who have not had claims. So over the last 2 years, we put together a program called Bluegrass Risk Management Pool to offer an alternative to Liberty Mutual. And I brought with me, just maybe as a little bit of a refresher, what we presented last year, a summary of what Liberty Mutual was offering, what the alternative would be. Hopefully some, if not most of you have this, but I got what you brought tonight.
Right. And what is it called again, Steve? Bluegrass?
Bluegrass Risk Management. We refer to it as a pool, but really what it is a group of like-minded schools coming together to buy insurance together. So it is a pooling arrangement, but it's fully insured. I can go into detail on that if you have questions, but let me back up a little bit again. So what we presented is what Liberty Mutual's renewal was going to be, what we presented last year, which is that first column. If you just focus on that top box where at the total is 521,484. That's what your renewal was prior to last year. They were gonna raise you from 521 to 613. Unacceptable to us. We came up with this alternative, which ended up saving you over $50,000 last year. The good news is we presented this to 40 districts that we work with in the state. 27 of them qualified for and agreed to get into the pool. The good news is we saved $1.5 million for public schools in that first initial offering. Sitting as of today, I'm going to knock on wood. But in addition to that savings, we have $1 million reserve, which is way ahead of projections.
Yeah.
Everybody's done very well. No more storms. As you all know, storms are the nemesis of any property that serves. So we presented it as an alternative. It didn't matter to us. If you wanted to stay with Liberty, that was fine with us. But it did make sense, in my opinion, for you guys to do what you did, and it's paid off. So this group, as we build, we are talking to 13 new districts, some of which we talked to last year that for the savings, what maybe wasn't enough or they weren't eligible to get in. So our goal is to try to get to around 40 by year end, by July 1st. I don't know if we'll get there or not. We don't really have to. We just pick the 27 we have. But there's some other districts we've identified that are good prospects. And so we're hoping to get another 10. Liberty Mutuals, if you were with still with Liberty Mutual, in addition to the huge increase they had last year, they're increasing again 15% this year. So if we just kind of parlay that going forward, we're anticipating about a 9% increase this coming year in July. So if you parlay that, it's probably more like a 65,000 savings over 25, 26 school year. Some of the deductibles had to change as a part of this. Liberty Mutual is changing those and change those as well. So every district across the state is taking on a higher deductible for wind and hail. It's not just true in schools, it's true in just about all large property risks. And we hope at some point that'll get better, but right now, the unpredictability of storms is driving insurance companies to the point where they aren't sure what the right price is. And when insurance companies become unsure, they raise the price. So that's a pretty good overview of how we got to where we are and where the pool is right now. See a question?
You got a question? If the other 13 districts do come on board, what does that do to our cost? Will that lower it or raise it or what?
Ultimately, yes. The larger the numbers are. I don't know that it'll do anything this year, but ultimately, yeah. Where the real payoff, so let me back up and give you a little bit of history. Public schools, really public entities, 85 to 90% across the country buy from pooling arrangements like what we create. Very few of them buy direct, 15% or less across the country. Kentucky, because of a bad experience with a company called Kismet, that went bankrupt some 10, 12 years ago, they didn't have a pool. They had no other alternative. Like I say, Liberty Mutual was pretty much it. So the real payoff long term with this group is you build up those reserves. For example, we did this in Ohio, about 130 some schools there. Their reserves right now sit at $50 million. So last year they decided to pay out $1 million in dividends to participate in schools. That's the payoff. You start getting dividends, and then ultimately, yes, it will impact the rates because you can carry higher deductibles and therefore lower rates. You're paying that out of your reserve pool. the long-winded answer to probably what was a simple question.
That's okay, yeah.
That makes sense?
Yes.
So again, this is a long-term play. This is not something that we intended to do just last year at all. This is something that we know that the Ohio pool's been in existence 9 years. See what they've done. We anticipate something similar going forward. Does that make sense? Like, is there something I'm not telling you you'd like to hear? So again, we feel really good about what we've done. We feel really good about where we're going. And we are being, be careful to say this, we are being selective in the sense that we want school districts like yours that have not had much claim, right? Who've been well managed. And again, we know storm, we're not talking about storm, we're talking about liabilities and things like that.
Thank you. This is what we needed in, the update, you know, because it was new and we, you know, want to keep tabs on how it's going. Was this the right decision for the board? Things like that. So having you come, you know, and give us update helps us make those kind of decisions.
Good.
Have those
I can be here
conversations.
anytime. I'll continue to work with Kim and Kim to get actual numbers as they become available.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
All right. I'll have a good evening.
Thank you. Now we'll have that break. You can talk and we'll resume our meeting. All right? Yeah.
Fourth head, not back head.
Maybe not that.
There you go.
Okay, I'm back.
Calling this meeting to order. Next on our agenda is comments. First is Andy Burnett. Bernard. Okay.
Go, yeah.
3 minutes.
Hello, my name is Andy Bernard. I'm here today on behalf of the Family Nurturing Center. Many of you guys know, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month. Those of us at Family Nurturing Center pride ourselves as being advocates in the community to end the cycle of child abuse and create safe communities for all of our children. I'm here today to present some information about some programming that we offer in schools, all free of charge throughout Northern Kentucky, in hopes that we can create a dialogue with you guys to bring these programs out to your schools and create these safe environments for all children in Kentucky. We hope that through creating a partnership with you guys, we can help stop this the cycle of child abuse. I'm able to present. I have just like a couple packets with some information. I don't want
Wonderful.
for anybody.
You can give one to, and then the board can look at it and pass it around.
And the second one for.
Yeah, just if you give it to me.
All right, thank you.
And afterwards, we can look at it.
Yeah.
I don't want to be looking at what he's presenting, but we'll share it.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for coming and presenting this information, this packet. Definitely something we will share. We have our DPP back there, Jennifer Stewart, she Director of Students Pupil Personnel, and so she's involved in a lot of that activity. So we'll make sure that she's aware. We'll make sure that the superintendent gets this information, because we are all about resources for our family and our kids. So thank you for taking the time to come and sharing this information with us.
Thank you.
All right, next is, to my surprise, Esther Batson.
I'm still spending all my Wednesdays with y'all.
Oh, come on, dear. Thank you so much. I'm so excited already.
All right, I have for you, just simply because I feel like they need to be brought up again.
Okay.
One, why can't we get you all in the building? We need you to come in. We need you to see what's taking place in our building. Yes, I realize some of you have crazy busy schedules, and I know that Dr. Curl is probably running around Xavier unless they're playing the game. And just, we really need you all to come in and see it. We've invited you before, and so far I haven't seen any of you in the building.
Now, I've been in the building. I probably haven't been there this year, but I am usually in the building.
Well, come on in again.
I'll come in again. I'll just put it on my
Just wait.
calendar. Because when I get home, if it's not on my calendar, but I'm gonna make a note to come and visit the high school. Matter of fact, that new app keeps us updated on your activities, so we got very excited about that. So Family Fun Night was at the primary school tonight, right? How'd it go? Primary school is tomorrow night? Tomorrow night, so see, it was tonight. The intermediate school.
Oh, intermediate, okay. But
So, and the high school is having something in the app. So our apps pop up and tell us, and it's all on my calendar. So I'm gonna do better.
All right.
I can only commit to me.
I can say that I hope to be there on Friday.
She's at work,
Awesome. Yeah, I
work-
in the 4 hour day.
so, but we'll try to make the after-school nightly events, but we can do that.
That would be awesome.
So I have a question for you.
Sure.
So you extended the invitation to come visit your school.
Yeah.
Are you flexible schedule? Is your schedule flexible for us to come in and,
You can go in my classroom anytime.
so you have, high school kind of like a flexible schedule, we want to come and
You can come in, and I'm sure, I'm gonna
Where's
speak
Mr.
for
Grayson
our
at?
administrator.
Yeah.
I think we only have Schultz here. You don't mind when they come in, do you? I didn't think so. So, you know, you can show up in my classroom anytime. It might be a little crazy busy. I might be trying to teach them to do a push-up with a kettlebell, but you're more than welcome to come in and just, you know, have fun. You can interact anytime you want to. Please, I don't think anybody would be upset to have any of you in our classrooms. It'd be nice to be able to see what's going on and the good things we do have going on. One of the things that I'm really concerned with is allocations and people's livelihood. We're getting down to the wire. And people are going to leave because they don't know whether to stay or not. Some people have already made the decision to leave and they've gotten jobs elsewhere and we're losing people. So waiting till the last minute seems like it's getting messier and messier. And my fear is that if we wait much longer, the people that do apply may not be quality. And that to me is scary. And I don't know how. I'm not a math person. That would be my sidekick. She is the math person. Yeah. So, you know, a lot of the things with budgeting, I guess I'm a little lost as to how we got from having a surplus to being so close, and that scares me a little bit. But hopefully we'll come out on top of that and be able to fix it. I'm not sure how yet. I'm not sure how we do fix it. But
We're working on it. We're having meetings. Miss Snap and Mr. Turner are meeting regular with Mr. Watts. We had a meeting with him yesterday. I just explained to the board. We got an update yesterday. So we should have some final decisions very soon. So you all should hear something very soon.
that would be amazing. Thank you. Because teachers are scared to death.
I understand.
We have more that would come to the board meetings, but they're honestly afraid of retaliation. They're scared to death. They don't know what to anticipate. So, and maybe being in the buildings will help with that. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
And hopefully next time you won't dread me. You won't dread seeing me come up here. Oh, wow.
Yes, we go way back, so. All righty, next is, Ms. Bravo.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Bracco. I introduced myself last month, and I'm going to be a little more brief and a little less formal this time, especially a lot I discussed with Ms. Batsy. But when I was here last month at the board meeting, I wanted to present you my concerns about the curriculum department's report and the usage of educational epiphany, as well as some concerns about communication. And I highlighted in my last comment that I was told I received feedback from my lesson that was recorded and observed by Dr. Dickey, and I have still not received that. And it was also indicated in last month's report that was given to the board that teachers have received feedback from the curriculum department as well as from our instructional coaches in the building, and that just hasn't happened. Further, there's no information in the report from last month or this month regarding the future use of educational epiphany program, and so I'm just a little bit worried about what that means for the future and how we intend to continue using that or not. Next, I wanted to briefly also address some of the communication that I had discussed last time, specifically with Mr. Watts. Unfortunately, I know we have a lot going on personally, but that hasn't been shared with anyone, and I don't expect anyone's personal business to be laid out on the table. But he was expected to be in our building last Friday for one of his monthly office hours, and I stopped by twice into the room where he usually works, and he was not there. We didn't get an email or any kind of comment saying that he wasn't going to show up, and if I, as a teacher, just chose not to show up to a place where I was expected one day, there would be consequences for me in that scenario. I'm expected to report to anyone that I'm not going to be present in a situation where I'm expected to be. Disappointing. And also to echo what Ms. Watson said, I'm still very concerned with the lack of clarity regarding the upcoming school year, the overall general fund budget, and staffing allocations for the district. And I understand that this is a huge undertaking, and please know that I appreciate all of you board members and your dedication to this project. But I believe I speak for many when I say that we are truly worried. We are worried for the future of our schools, we're worried for our careers, for our livelihood, and what that means for our families. I personally, I'm gonna get real, I just went through a divorce this year. It was finalized last week. So I am now a single mother. My livelihood is the only thing keeping me and my children afloat. It means a lot more to me now to make sure that I am in a position where I feel safe and comfortable at work, and I'm not worried about cuts that would affect being able to provide for my children. Sorry, I didn't plan to share that part, but it just felt like okay, sorry. We're worried for our mental health, even when changes need to be made, moving staff from different grade levels or buildings. And included with that, I just found out that the EAP is no longer a service through the Newport schools. And I found that out through the EAP services themselves. Again, communication was not made with staff members that we lost that benefit. I was informed the day that I was supposed to have a therapy appointment that I no longer qualified to go receive that therapy. Which now you know, and I just laid my whole life out on the line, you know why I'm there. So I ask you to please continue to work with urgency and do not give up. Provide the community with the answers that we're asking to the questions that we are begging for you to solve. And I know it's a lot of work, but it really matters. So thank you for what you're doing, and please don't quit.
Thank you. Thank you. Right. And the reason we can't comment, because when you all talk about personnel, the board is not authorized to have personnel conversations. So that's the reason we hear the comments, but there's a reason we cannot respond or answer questions. So just so you know, we're not ignoring, we hear you, but we have to be careful as board members when matters involving personnel is put on the floor. Thank you. All righty. Next on the agenda is the treasurer, or the minutes. Okay, we have the March 26th and April 16th minutes. Any questions, comments regarding the minutes? If there be no questions or comments, I need a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
It's been moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next we have the treasurer's report. Ms. Snap?
Evening. You all have my report. I have questions that I answered before. Questions for me? I did want to know why Miss Amber's card was charged on 2/26 when she left 131. That card is the district card, and we use those for recurring charges. So we're kind of open right now just to make sure that they're all going to be taken care of. So as they come in, we're transferring whatever. Because I don't know.
But she's not in possession of the card.
Correct. Yeah.
That's what needs to be
Yeah,
on the
well,
record.
Yeah, it's in my possession actually, and it's literally just, we have to make sure that all the charges are transferred. Sure. I don't want them to be denied, and services be canceled or anything like that. Sure. For that reason. So they're trickling in, and I think we're pretty much about finished with that. Shouldn't be very many, if any at all.
I have a question on page 2 of the munis report. There are categories about rent for our buildings and rent for our buses. Are we allowed to rent out our buildings and our facilities and buses? It's kind of at the bottom of page 2.
Oh, under revenue?
Yeah, under revenue, yeah.
Rental, bus rental.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure about, I know that in the past, yeah, Dennis could probably answer that.
Yeah.
What was your question today?
Dennis, the question is about our facilities. Do we rent out our gymnasiums or
We
facilities or
can,
anything?
and we recently have a rental agreement with the Army to use the stadium for a couple of days in June. So yes, we do have a board policy that allows us to rent out our facilities.
Okay.
Yes, and the buses, but typically for our buses, It's been a neighborly agreement because we're constantly working back and forth. A lot of the independent districts, we're in the same situation where we have just a limited number of buses, and we will help Dayton, we will help Fort Thomas, and vice versa. So we typically don't take advantage of rental. It's an agreement that we're there for one another, and it's worked out great to our benefit over the years. So, but yes, definitely we can rent out our facilities. Technically, you can do the bus rental. We typically don't do anything like that with anything outside of the school district, and it's just a matter of taking care of one another as the year goes on.
Yeah, and we do our football field as well.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Thank you. Good question. All righty, any more questions for Ms. Snap?
I was wondering why we spend more on admin than instructional support. Why we spend more on business support than instructional support.
I'm not sure if she can.
Yeah, that's kind of a hard question. If there would have to be a little bit more specific.
I was just bringing it up because it was in your report, and I know that you're probably not the person to answer it, but if there's somebody else that can answer it.
What we did, like, we
Is
take
it
more
specific?
So I was just noticing that there was more, let me see if I can pull it up.
I think that's the right answer.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to find it right now, but that would be something that I'd be interested in knowing.
Sure.
Just, position allocations, these were salaries. That was paid more for the admin and the business support services over the instructional support services. And it would just seem to me that we would want more instructional support over admin. Thank you. Yeah.
All righty, any more questions for Ms. Snap?
The lodging for 2025 for St. Therese, why do we cover that?
Jenny Stewart.
Yeah.
She's
For
asking.
the fusion for,
Yeah.
St. Therese. She was asking why we cover that for the private school. I know that
Why
there's,
do we have that?
why do we cover that? I know that
Oh,
we have
because
to
we
have.
are legally responsible under federal law. It's Title I.
Okay,
So if a student lives in Newport, so
okay,
there's a couple of things going on. If a student lives in Newport and they go to a private school, regardless of where that is, if they are free and reduced lunch, they generate funds for those private schools. So then that requires me to meet with representatives from the private school to determine if that student is at risk, and if so, what's the plan to close that achievement gap? So, we meet, I'm actually getting ready to meet within the next 3 weeks, because we have so many private schools, students this time. It's a private school consultation agreement. And so basically what happens is, earlier in the year, they said, yes, we want to participate, and they met those timelines. I contact the Diocese of Covington, I contact any and all of those private schools and all of the home schools to see who wants to participate. Once I get all of those students' information back on free and reduced lunch, then I personally reach out to those schools. We will sit down and have a meeting together. We're going to look at their students' data. We're going, and that's my responsibility, not theirs. It's my responsibility to identify those kids who are not on grade level. And then as a team, we make a determination on how we're going to close that. That particular, in the past, they hadn't necessarily went to professional development or went to conferences. During that time period, when private schools really got into Fusion and NWEA is when Newport Independent itself was actively contracting with NWEA. That Fusion conference is more NWEA conference. You're gonna see a few other things. So next month, we'll have some charges there for some flights and some travel. That's money that's federal money, that's not local taxpayer dollars, that's not state and local funds, those are federal funds. So obviously, if you pay federal taxes, you have some piece to that. So that money comes in and I automatically have to set it aside for it.
Okay. Okay.
The extra piece to that is, it's not just about where kids live, it's also about where that private school is located. So there are different federal requirements for schools that are private, that are located within your school district boundary.
Okay.
So that's another piece. So for right now, and I hope I don't forget anyone, we have Holy Trinity, we have St. Therese, and we have NCC for the current fiscal year. That's the same as what we had last fiscal year. In my report, I believe it was either last month or the month before, we do have this next year 2 additional private schools that did not have it. But that's something I'll be bringing those agreements to the board for you all to look at. I know it sounds like over the past couple of months, the board might want to be doing something different as far as our title funding and what the priorities are. But all of that information will come back to the board.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You have any more questions?
I was just, and this isn't really from a snap, but I was just wondering how the kids were chosen to go to Disney. If there was like, expectations they had to meet, or, how they were chosen out of the whole population of the high school for these, or whatever to go.
Is somebody from the high school here to address that? That would be a question for, because it was, I think it was Frisky, was that the Frisky? So that was
Service center.
Youth Service Center, so that
So I'll
would be,
reach out to them.
yeah, just send her an email.
I'm just curious.
I understand, and she would be able to answer that question for you,
Yeah.
so just send her an email,
Okay.
okay?
And that was all that I had, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, yes.
Flowers.
Yeah, me. Yeah, I had the same time, and, just for the record, we all, and our training, we're told we do this pre-work. So we look at all these documents, typically starting on a Friday or Saturday, and then we meet with and call the different ones, because at our training, they tell us to do that. Otherwise, these meetings would be lasting hours if we didn't do some of the pre-work. So I think I was on the phone with Ms. Knapp today for about an hour and a half, asking questions, going through this and going through that. And so oftentimes, but I was sometimes like Ms. Stubman, I couldn't get to her, and I would have to ask these questions at the meeting. But it works well if the majority of us do the pre-work. If there's 1 or 2 of us that didn't get an opportunity to do it, then this is the platform to do and ask those questions. So, because it's good that the public knows that we looked at these documents, we asked these kind of questions so that we can learn and understand how things operate. All righty. So I need any questions regarding the bank reconciliation statement?
No.
Right, and,
Motion to accept the treasury report.
okay. I've got a motion to accept the financial report and file for audit. I need a second. It's been moved in second, all in favor? And now I need a motion to pay the bills.
So moved. Second.
All right. And, I have a lot of questions. One of the questions that I, asked him about, because we pay the city to collect our taxes, and it's a percentage. So when you see all the money that we pay them to collect our taxes, you go, wow, but we researched, she did research, and the other districts do the same thing, because for a school district to collect it itself, it's monumental. And so most districts do what we do, but I found comfort in knowing that that's pretty much the standard operation, you know, but we would probably have to hire a whole nother, accounting staff to collect the taxes for the school district. So, you know, those are the kind of questions we ask when we're looking at these bills. We want to know what's going on, you know. And sometimes we remember what we saw last month, and sometimes we don't, so. But thank you. So, did I get a motion to pay the bill?
Yes.
All right, all in favor, right?
Aye.
All right, very good. So, all the other information attached is for information only. Anyone have any questions about the expenses and the March monthly financial?
I had some questions, but Ms. Knapp's gonna get back to me on that.
Me?
Before,
Okay,
yeah.
very
I mean,
good.
they're vendors, but like I don't recognize them from previous, so she's gonna get back to me on what they were for, just so that I can understand it.
Yes. Very good. Because there's so many codes, so you can't really look at the report and figure out what it was. And some of the names help you,
Yeah,
but others do not. Because I had a question about the Amazon Capital, you know, and she explained that to me. You know, that's the account the schools use to order their supplies, so.
yeah.
All righty, very good. All righty, next is student learning and support services. Ms. Payne?
Madam Chair, board members, I give you all a single-page handout to discuss the KYCL 25, which is the Kentucky Comprehensive Literacy Grant that we did receive. So we're one of 39 districts that received it. I gave you a little bit of history on their overview, that the state actually received $54.9 million for 5 years. And they were to allocate it to different schools that applied for the grant. So the award for the grant can be anywhere between $1,065,000 and $1.56 million. So the actual grant that we received, because we're a smaller district, was $1,065,000. The focus, of course, is on literacy and on community engagement. So I also put the 4 goals of the grant on there, that to provide a curriculum for literacy, whether it's core curriculum and or supplemental curriculum. It's to support struggling readers and closing the achievement gap. It's for professional development that's specific to the supplemental or core resources that you use, and for family engagement to increase literacy and development at home. You flip it over on the back, there is funding allocation. So the funding is not, they determine how you split it up. So 16% of the funding, which is $170,000, is for birth to age 5. 42% each for the elementary, which is K-5, and then 42% for middle and high together. So that's $447,300 for each of those levels. The timeline that I gave you is up in the air still a little bit. This is the timeline that they reported to us once we received the grant. We do have official welcome meeting on May 2nd. Myself will attend. It was supposed to be at the end of this month, but because of the flooding and tornadoes, they pushed it back to May 2nd. So I'll bring you an update to this after we go to that meeting. So those are the dates for access to the money. So, and when I say access to the money, I want you to jump down to the bottom where it says limitation. So one of the limitations is that it's guaranteed for the first year only right now. So because it's federal dollars. So with the things that are going on in our federal government, nothing's guaranteed, but they do have this batch of money in hand right now.
Okay,
So the June 1st access point will have $213,000 available. We won't know about the second access point, which is in until September. So that's for the October 1st in 2025. So we don't know about that access to those funds, but each access point, those 5 access points every year will be the 213,000.
okay,
Okay? So that's kind of the limitations. And also when I say access, it's not a disbursement. So we don't receive $213,000. So what we do is we create the POs, KDE approves them, and then we purchase them, and they immediately guarantee the money because of the process they have. So their approval guarantees reimbursement. I know Chairperson Malone asked me that in the past with some grants, reimbursement is slow, or you may not get reimbursed, but this is a guaranteed reimbursement.
okay.
Because you have to have approval from the purchase. So,
So they have to approve your purchase
yes,
before you make the purchase?
yes. So that's why it's guaranteed.
Okay,
So it doesn't have to go through a process after you've already spent the money. You go
okay.
through the process on the front end.
So once we have access, once we have access, what's the process going to be to determine, say, for example, the birth to age
Yeah, that's
570,000? What's the process going to be to determine what we actually use that for?
So we had to submit a budget, so a budget of how we distribute that, whether it's for actual materials, where our Core Wonders program, or whether it's for supplemental materials, or whether it's for benchmark assessments, or any other type of assessment that it's already budgeted out for. The only thing they leave up to us is who and what. Curriculum, they don't tell us which curriculum to use, it just has to be one that's on KU's list, which Wonders is what we use, is on KU's list.
So we would use it for something we're already doing now?
Yes.
Not adding stuff?
No, no, so it would help with our general fund budget. Because
So-
something that we already budgeted and paid for, we didn't
So
pay for.
this is stuff we do pay for out of general funds, and it would go back in. Okay,
Yes, once we get the reimbursement.
all right, thank
Yeah.
you.
And then I do want to say the other limitation that's at the bottom, that they had some specifications for anything that's mandated already by KDE, like the K-3 core. So we're helping to advance reading by 3rd grade. So they're saying, since that's already in place, then they won't provide funding for the resources for K-3, but they will for 412.
And this will not fund any newly created programs, anything we might come up with, like a pre-K program or anything like that? Would it fund, can we fund
Anything
teachers?
that's supplemental,
Okay.
supplemental. Do I have any more questions? And I'm also gonna go, if you don't, to, yes, ma'am.
Okay, it says from birth to age 5, and I know we have that born learning at the primary. Anybody from the primary? Matt? We,
I work with the Family Resource and Youth Service Centers. I'm the district contact for that. We no longer have born learning at the primary
Okay.
school because that funding source has went away. So in turn, they do other programming that services that population that's
Okay.
identified. Because as part of the Family Resource Youth Service Center grant, they have a component that works for birth to 3-year-olds. And then
Okay.
they also have early childhood that deals with preschool age students.
thank you. That leads to my question. So this says 0 to 5, so would that be able, so
Yes.
and some of the things that they do,
So
you would be able to get reimbursement for that?
So Ms. Molly takes the lead on a lot of things as
Yes.
well as with Nikki Caden.
Yes.
To come up with those programmings and to service those students that aren't school age yet.
Okay, great, thank
Could
you.
this actually help us to expand that?
Yeah,
Okay.
very good. Yeah, because there's a lot of things going on about, kindergarten readiness. So the city is having meetings, there is a program in Covington called Read Ready Covington. but this, and some of you have probably heard about it, but it's a community-based program that helps the community get involved with helping kids, you know, with reading and learning. So I'm excited because it's not something that the school is responsible for organizing. Community partners, and so they're working on an initiative for Read Ready Newport. So hopefully, you know, that will be something that will come in existence and provide the support that we need, you know, and give the community another opportunity to get involved and support the school. So, thank you. Any questions about the grant at this time? Thank you.
I'll ask you to also look at the curriculum board report, because I have an update, because I have the numeracy grant on there, and we did not receive that grant. We found out about that this week, so we weren't one of the schools that did receive that, so I did want to give you that update, because I had it pending.
We did receive it?
We did not. We were waiting to hear, but we did not receive it.
Good.
So I wanted to say thank you for the feedback on the programming that you offer, with the percentages of overall satisfaction and things like that. That's great. I did want to ask what role the curriculum department has in implementing the training at the schools.
Well, it varies. So it depends. Ms. Brown is our PD coordinator. So we do district trainings, but the schools also set up training that they have that are dependent on what they do in school. So there's trainings for maybe for the core resource. So we would be responsible for that. So for the Wonders program that we use, if there's teacher training for that, that's set up from the curriculum part. But like Matt's building did the U-Fly program, which is part of the science of reading. It's like an Orton Gillingham program that's free. He set up that for his school. So he worked along with the co-op to bring in trainers to work the school. So it varies depending on what it is, who sets up the training or who even provides the training.
So who provides these types of trainings? Is it an outside source or?
It varies. I mean, you talking about instructional training?
Like, in your report, it lists several different trainings that occur on different dates. I'm just wondering, were those outside sources that came in? Were they provided directly from you or Ms. Brown? Or were they led by?
It depends on which training it is. It's led by various. Sometimes we bring people in. Sometimes we do the training. Like for the Bell Team trainings, Ms. Brown does those trainings, and then the teachers do them with the staff.
Okay.
So it just depends on which one it is.
Does the high school still have PLC, professional learning communities? Do they still?
That's not necessarily training. That's where they meet and talk
Okay.
about student data and lesson planning.
Okay.
So any formal training happens either at sometimes the faculty meeting, like the Bell Teams, or it happens in the summer, or it happens like they do champs training when we came back from after Christmas break at NIS. So it happened at various times.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Next, we have DPP.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Ms. Payne, you have a copy of the DPP of students for the month of April. And Mr. Curl, or I apologize, Dr. Quigley, I did go through and run the superintendent annual attendance report with leaving the year open and applying our 5 low attendance days. We would be at 95.4% attendance rate if the year ended before. We still have about 20, we still have, today we have 25 days remaining, so tomorrow it'll be 24. Sorry. Because we're gonna hit that goal. People in this room are gonna make sure we do. And the family's watching at home.
Yes. Hear that, students?
not include it in the report. We did get some updated information already this week, with it only being Wednesday. Mr. Recton, who is our 21st Century and Out of School Director, did receive notification that we received the 21st Century grant for the primary school. We cannot thank Partners for Change, which was originally coming to Partners enough. They pulled together, met with Mr. Recton multiple times last year, knowing we weren't going to get those grant funds, but knowing that as hard as our teachers and our staff were working, we were seeing changes. We were seeing increases, and those are things that we want to continue to support. And so that organization pulled different grant funds together that they had, and were able to work with Mr. Recton and others. And so we did have a program this year at the primary school. So next year, we will have those 21st Century grant funds back. So that's good information. We will still have the intermediate school and the high school. Mr. Recton and his team are excited. They've got a lot of great ideas. They will be attending training. There are 2 different days next week, one day for elementary, one day for middle and high. He is going to attend both days with his staff. I'm attending just the first day. The second day is on a Wednesday, and our court liaison let me know earlier that I had court on Wednesday. So I'm going to go to the elementary one and just support our staff. And then 21st Century, there's so many different rules to it. But again, cannot speak highly. Did meet not just myself, Ms. Onks, Mr. Orsina from the high school, and I'm forgetting some, Ms. McNally, and Mr. I'm going to say his last name wrong. Tuning. Mr. Tuning is working on a grant. We talked about the city of Newport, Mr. Tuning, and then Newport working on a grant. It's a rapid response grant. And so our request and our data, when we met, we are requesting $50,000 be applied specifically to a school counselor position within Newport Independent. Our data and the purpose of the grant, it would specifically be at the intermediate already have. So that was our request. They are working on it. We are supplying them with information and with data, and honestly cannot thank them enough. They reached out to us with the opportunity, and so that just speaks tremendously towards our community and our partners. So they are showing up for us. They are reaching out
That's
for
good
us
to
and
hear.
asking us what we need.
Good, that's good to hear. Thank you for that.
And that's the city applying for this grant?
Mr. Tuning works for the
It's
city.
Tony, you talk.
He works for the city of Newport.
Yes.
And when he shared with us, spoke very highly of their new city manager and the expectation that working with the school working with the city. It was a great meeting. I'm sure Ms. Fox could add to that. Great meeting, and we really tore into the data and said, this is where we are in the district. Here's where our primary school is, our intermediate, high school. This is the work that the board committed to over a course of 5 years. These are the increases we have seen. However, in the state of the world today, these are the 2 grade levels where we are seeing significant spikes in just concerns for their social emotional safety and well-being. And we want to rapidly respond to that because we are seeing it, and we want to keep our kids safe. But again, thank you to those individuals. They are working on that grant. Regardless of whether we get it or not, we obviously want it, but I think the best piece to that was the experience itself. Was being able to sit down and have it open and honest and saying, we're here for you, you're here for us. What can we do together? So just an amazing experience.
Great, that's good news.
Can you give any idea of the timeline you're back?
Yes, the grant itself is due, I believe, April 30th. So we will know, it's a very quick turnaround. And the purpose of it is to rapidly respond to populations And I would say whether it's a health concern or maybe a special population that be eligible for federal funding to assist. So that's the purpose of this grant is to get into targeted populations. And for us, it was mental health and it being health related, yes.
Any questions for Ms. Stewart?
Just thank you for what you're doing.
Yes. Thank you. All righty. We continue to move on.
Next, we have facilities and transportation, Mr. Mayor.
Administrator.
Thank you.
Thank you to Ms. Michaels for nominating him. She did a great job on the video, although we didn't get to see it because they had us on stage.
You can see it, yeah.
But we did hear the wonderful things that she said about Mr. Maines and all that he does, for the districts as facility director and in his experience as administrator. So I just wanted to give him that shout out here. We was very proud. But we'll talk about that more in the comments
Appreciate that.
because there were others.
Good evening. In new business this evening, I'm asking you to once again approve the district facilities plan. Nothing has changed with it. The only thing different is we have had the public hearing. Mr. Ongst and I held a public hearing. No one showed up, so we still went through the protocol of so that we already, all of our staff has a training, not always a hands-on. We all have a video training, and as the importance of those machines